not funny, man. You're not funny.
You're not funny. All right. Welcome back to...
Oh, sorry. That wasn't even intentional. Beep again.
Welcome back to another episode of the Junk Monkeys Podcast, your bi-weekly connection through conversation.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Got it in one, baby.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm your host, Randy McLeod. I'm joined by my good friend, Daniel Mosionier.
What's up?
Hello. And,
peek the mic.
Whoa, careful there. Today, it's just the two of us. We're doing what we...
Everybody else died.
Unfortunately, Brad went to go get Noah from the Arctic.
From the Arctic.
And of course...
He broke down.
Well, Arctic pretty cold.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard.
Not designed for normal use.
Yep. So Brad's stuck up there right now with him.
They're both still alive.
You know, Noah hasn't been in here for a while. I think he actually has sent his resignation, but I just haven't opened my email.
I got the email and I haven't.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it eventually.
The title of it is My 2 Weeks, and I choose to believe that means something else.
I figured it was just pictures of his last 2 weeks and be like, this is where I was this week.
I was in the Arctic.
Wow, look at me.
Here's me and Brad.
Your vacation photos. We've gotten off track. We've lost the plot. We are doing another creative showcase. I'm really, really
Hell
excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait to just sit and listen to Dan's tasty tunes and my wonderful writing.
I was going to think of a W word.
Yeah.
I didn't want to use W.
Wondrous.
That's just the same word.
I know.
You're wishful.
Okay.
I don't know. That doesn't really work.
Sure.
Wondrous is better.
We got to get out of the intro part, so maybe stick around for this episode of the Junk Monkeys Podcast.
You could perhaps.
Boy, maybe. So, Dan, when we're in this little period where we they don't hear us and we don't hear them, you ever think about? Hey, everybody! Welcome back to the Junk Monkeys Podcast. Your bi-weekly connection through conversation.
Today I'm going with my friend Randy McLeod.
We just do it again. We're stuck in an unending loop. We are excited. I think we have high energy today.
I'm so excited.
And it's really fun because I love these creative showcases.
Yes.
We get a lot of great reception on them. And I think that it's
I only got 3G.
I don't know. You're not. That's not funny, Dan. You're not funny.
You can't take my joke, you motherfucker.
I can't know. I'm the host. I get to choose.
I upload the edit.
I am the one who knocks.
I'm the one who uploads.
You voice over me.
Yeah. I just say the same thing. No, it's like where I dip the audio down and I cut in my voice and editing. Like, Randy stole my joke here.
So
it's
I'm
going to
say it. So we're going to get into the episode right after a quick little bit of housekeeping because I have some exciting updates.
Uh-oh.
First of all,
or wahoo.
I want to start with giving flowers.
We're giving each other flowers.
Not each other. We're giving Cassandra Evans some flowers. As you may have seen on Facebook, her little guy was born.
Her little individual.
Her little Ambrose.
Ambrose? Is that
yeah.
Oh.
It's super cool. Cassandra, Cassie, we love you. Great job for getting through this. And I'm so happy for you and your whole family.
Congratulations.
And please enjoy your time off that I've mandated you for social media presence.
Please enjoy this cup of coffee that I brewed for you.
This is from me to you.
You have to come get it.
Enjoy. It will be cold by the time you get here.
I just brewed it, so you got about 30 minutes.
Hurry up.
I'm waiting.
But yeah, honestly, lots of love out your way. Thank you for everything you've done for the podcast and everything you continue to do. And I hope our newest little junk monkey is a subscriber one day.
We indoctrinate him into the junk monkeys.
He grows up with this, man. I'm telling you. With that out of the way, housekeeping. Guess what, Dan?
What's up?
Operation Get Ran to San Fran. Guess what, baby?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No fucking way.
So
no fucking way.
I went on YouTube.
Oh my lord.
And they held a town hall. And they did this live stream.
Is this all? What if this is just all a build up to saying you didn't get it?
I didn't get it.
Oh, no! You had me,
I know.
I was so excited.
Yeah, me too.
What the fuck?
So, I checked it out, and they have chosen the two people. And
it was only 2 people?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like the 30.
No.
I thought it was going to be like a group of people.
No.
Oh.
No. It's like a one-on-one experience.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. So,
was that ever explained?
I didn't explain it.
Oh, okay.
No, I just figured it was not. Anyway. So this is the last update on Get Ran to San Fran.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody who may have submitted, who thought about submitting, or just in general, thanks for listening to me ramble on about this thing.
Thanks for helping to get Rand to San Fran.
You know,
you tried.
And we're working on it still. Maybe I'll do it someday.
Yeah, totally.
So Operation Get Rand to San Fran
is being replaced by Operation Get the Junk Monkeys to San Fran.
There we go. Group trip. That'd be fun.
Group trip. What the hell was that?
I don't know. What was the other piece of housekeeping? Daniel's music, obviously, but we don't really need to do that because we're going to hear it today.
Because I deleted my entire YouTube channel.
It's gone.
Goodbye. It'd be tragic. It's a lot of views.
Speaking of music.
What?
Whoa. Segue.
What?
Everybody
loves Raymond.
So, way this one is going to work. I have 2 pieces of writing. Both of them are screenplays this time. Dan has 2 pieces of music.
I got some music.
He's got some music. If you're new to the Creative Showcase, it's basically just chill vibes as we kind of like explore different pieces of creativity and
that we have individually made.
And precisely. And we kind of just discuss it, and we'd be like, hey, this was really cool. Why don't you explain this part of it? Or what was your inspiration behind this?
Or if it fucking blows, then maybe we say that.
And then maybe we be honest with one another.
But you're a good writer and I'm a good musician, so that's just not going to happen.
We're going to be.
It's just simply not a possibility.
Just cut to the part where you're just like, man, this was ass.
Yeah, beep. Man, that was fucking terrible.
That was not good. Daniel, why don't we kick things off with one of your lovely pieces of music?
Whoa.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, dog. Yeah, man. There's about. Actually, wait. If I'm for the audience at home, I'm working on a laptop in front of me right now. If I Control A, there are 606 pieces of exported music.
Okay. So we're gonna get through all of them today.
Yeah. We're gonna go through all of them.
Okay.
I'm gonna play a quarter second of each one.
Oh.
So 4 would be a second.
There we go.
In 100 seconds, we do 400 pieces of music.
Okay.
And then we need to do anotd third. So it would be about. It would be about
33.
No, it would be about 130 seconds.
33.
So it'd be just a little over 2 minutes.
Okay.
For all my music.
There we go.
It would be like.
I think you could make a song out of that.
That'd be really funny.
That'd be sick.
No, we're gonna play this one piece of music I wrote. It's called. Oh man, this is the one part I don't like about the Creative Showcase. Whenever I'm part of it, which is all of them, is
weird stipulation, but go on.
Well, I just didn't. I realized halfway through.
For
okay,
sure.
Is that I gotta like the pieces of music I'm looking at right now has a name.
Yep.
But I gotta say the name.
Yeah.
And that's exposing.
You don't have
know
to
what
say
I mean?
it.
Well, no, I do, but like it's not that it's a weird name.
No.
It's just that when you probably can relate when you create something personal, maybe a piece of writing, maybe a piece of music that you don't necessarily intend at the moment to share with anyone.
Yeah.
But then later it happens.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, oh man, I feel like I'm being exposed, you know?
Yeah.
It's a spotlight.
That's fair. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that for song titles, but
kick
like
the table because I'm so angry.
I think that's a really cool like personal touch to something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like a song.
Yeah. I guess it's not really that private because this piece of music is on my YouTube channel.
That's a great point.
And it's got like 1,400 views. So like,
Yeah.
or I thought I said 14,000. I was like, whoa, misleading.
Jesus.
All right, sorry. It's called This Is What My Heart Sounds Like When We Are Together.
Yeah.
There are 2 renditions of it. This is the second one. It's a piano and string piece, and it is just I don't know, I guess I was feeling happy and elated when I wrote this piece of music, I suppose, because every piece of music I write, by and large, is sort of a window into what I was feeling when I wrote the piece of music.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can start with that one. If there's anything else.
No, honestly, folks, please. I don't know. Like, I challenge you, listener, if you have a moment, maybe listen to this episode without like doing anything in the background. Like, like sit down and just listen.
It's only like a minute 30.
Yeah.
You know, or even I don't even actually know. It might be even a minute.
There we go.
No, it's a minute 44. Ha ha ha.
Perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, for the next minute and 44 seconds, shut up.
Or enjoy.
Or just listen, you know.
Listen.
All right, here we go. Wahoo.
Wahoo, indeed.
Wahoo.
It's so funny because I knew, like, I had heard this piece before because I listened to it on your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
And so, like, I knew that in the intro we were high energy, and I knew we were just going to get hit with this, like, almost like soothing, like, relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was taking notes when we were listening to that because I'm really bad at remembering things. So I'm like, oh, yeah, that part.
You were just trying to transcribe the music. B flat, C, D sharp.
Yeah.
What key are we in? Fuck, what chord was that? Dancing minor chord. I don't know what the hell it was. Go back.
No, the part that sticks out to me in that piece so much is I don't have the musical language. We talked about that last time, but or the vernacular, if you will. But that escalating piano, if that makes sense, where it's like piano going upstairs, if that makes sense.
Right.
Or like, how would you describe that? Like escalating chord?
An arpeggio?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is?
Yeah.
Do you mean, I'm going to play some of the
please.
track. When you...
I'll call it out.
Yeah, okay. Do you know where?
It's pretty near the beginning here.
Okay.
That.
Well, that's just the little like...
The trill.
Yeah. I guess you could call it a trill. I don't know. It's just sort of a...
I know it's a minor thing.
It's an embellishment for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love an embellishment, though. And I think, like, it kind of... It underlies the piece. It starts... It's at the beginning of the piece, but I notice it every time it pops up in the piece.
Well, it's interesting because... such a tiny change because it's just a little flurry of two notes, but such a addition to the piece of music completely changes how you would perceive the track. In that, if that wasn't there, it's not that the track would be worse, but you've picked it out as a defining characteristic, and obviously it sounds obvious to say, but if that wasn't there, you wouldn't have, and perhaps your feelings of the piece would be different. But you heard it and you went, "Oh, I like that." And so
it hit that pleasure receptor.
Yeah, it's just a tiny little thing, but like sometimes little things like that you don't really think of. Like I didn't really, when I wrote it, I was like, "Oh man, that would sound cute." Yeah. But then I showed it to someone else, and they're like, "Man, I really like specifically that."
I resonate with that.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it. I hadn't thought of it that way, but it's always fun when someone is like, picks out a piece of my music where they're like, I like this, and I hadn't necessarily thought of that. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's my favorite part of the creative process, man, is like somebody being like, yo, you did really great here. I'm like, I didn't even think about that.
Like, right, exactly.
Yeah. So I wrote down your pieces almost tell a story of themselves, or they have the structure of not rising action, but progression. And it starts from a place where it's already enjoyable and it's already nice and it's already, especially with this piece, it's already like this peaceful place. Yeah. But somehow, even though you're adding more to it, it sounds even more like at ease or at progression, but not in a weird like forward movement.
No, yeah. I kind of get what you're saying. Almost as if when the strings come in, you didn't think that it necessarily needed it, but then when they come in, you're like, oh man, was it missing that the whole time? Yeah. And they sort of meld together into this, like, I didn't even realize I needed that, but now that they're here, they sound good together. Yep. Yeah, totally.
Absolutely, man.
I don't know if you noticed, but if I jump ahead in the piece a little bit, the strings lag behind the piano like a hair. Okay. Or the strings are ahead by a hair. Yeah. Right there is really obvious to hear. I'm going to go back just for a second. In your right ear, you can hear the string pluck, and in your left ear, you can hear the piano. Right there.
Oh, that's cool, man.
The strings are like I don't even know if they're a 16th note ahead. It might be a 32nd note ahead. Okay. But they're just a hair ahead.
But noticeable.
When I bring it up.
Yeah.
Right? Did you notice before?
No, I didn't pick it out as particularly like, oh, I don't notice that this was wrong. Yeah.
Not actually a product of intention, but when I was composing it, towards the end I realized, but I left it in. It was actually because of the reverb that I had applied to the strings. It was mostly the wet signal and less of the dry, which means if you've got like your sound of the strings and then you apply reverb, the sound that comes. Wow, this is how do you describe a reverb channel to someone? You got like me plucking the string on a guitar, right? Like bung, bung, bung. And then you apply reverb. So the sound of me just plucking the string on its own, that's the dry sound.
Okay.
And then the sound that you add with the reverb, that the reverb produces, that's the wet sound. So you can choose if you want, like, it's usually a dial, and you choose between 0 and 100. 0 being max dry sound, 100 being max wet sound. So just the sound of the reverb. And you dial it to your taste. In this instance, the strings reverb, the wet is like, it's very high. And then the unfortunate byproduct of that, well, serendipitous byproduct of that, is that you get a little bit of delay because the reverb has to ring out. But so that's why the strings are a hair, or the piano. Sorry, it's on the piano, not the strings. I'm all over the goddamn place.
It's okay.
So that's why the piano is a hair behind. But once I realized that, I was like, oh, I don't know, it kind of sounds nice. It almost gives the piano its own space.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not super competing for the same sort of auditory register. You know what I mean? So
it's like, listen to me, piano. It's like, no, listen to me, strings.
Let's
like,
listen to both.
We can
at
be
the same
together.
Time. We can coexist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just serendipity that worked out. I put it together and I was like, yeah, that sounds good.
Do you ever when I think of composing, I think of everything being how do I put this? Not meticulously planned. Obviously, like it's like jazz, you know, you just throw things together. But like, or cooking, where it's like, hey, this could actually use a bit of spice, or this could use this. Do you ever stumble upon these happy accidents?
Yes. Well, that was one.
Yeah.
And also, in the beginning, the sound of the piano that you're describing, I'm going to play the track again. The little trill you described, that was an accident. That was not intentional. I was writing, and actually how I wrote this is in my recording studio, or software, studio, I hit the record button, and then I was just, the metronome was going, you know, and then I was just idly playing. And the actual chord, the notes that came up here at the beginning were an accident. I was just sort of playing.
Okay.
You know. So I played out this chord progression, and my recording software has a really nice functionality where it's always recording what you play.
Okay. And
up to a maximum of 30 minutes in the past, you can take what you played previously and like dump it into your software.
Oh, fantastic.
Even if you weren't recording, it's always like soft recording in the background.
The first 30.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It's
really, really convenient. So that was what that was. And then I was playing it back and also playing over it at the same time. Like I was playing the piano and I was just noodling around up in the upper register, and which is like the higher notes on the piano. And I accidentally played, not accidentally, but I just sort of mindlessly played it.
Yeah.
That little trill you're describing, and I was like, oh, that sounded really good, and then I added it. And this track is happenstance.
That's awesome.
It's just kind of fell together.
Creative byproduct.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, obviously it exists because I have the musical talent to play those things.
Of course.
But yeah, I didn't go into this piece of music with a set chord progression, set chords, melody, even a key. I was just noodling around, and I played those. Obviously, when I played it to begin with, there was no reverb on the channel.
Yeah.
So it was a much drier sound. And then later I added the reverb, and I was like, oh, that sounds really good. And then I was screwing around with the upper register, and then the trill happened. And then you get to a page where I know you're familiar, where the inspiration is just flowing, and you just keep stacking idea and idea and idea, and you don't even think about it. You're just like cooking. You say, oh, this needs this.
Yeah.
You taste what you're making, and you're like, this needs reverb. This needs strings. This needs colegno strings.
Yeah.
Just like you taste your food, and you're like, this needs way more garlic.
Oh, just so much garlic.
So, yeah, this to answer your question, yes, all the time. A lot of my pieces are like that. Sometimes more often than not, I would say the beginning is sort of like I have an idea.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's like you throw the bird out to fly, and you're like, man, I really hope it doesn't hit the ground.
Yep.
And sometimes it does,
Yep.
but or usually it's just, oh, well, this needs that, and that, and that, and that, and you just start stacking ideas, and before you know it, you've got a completed piece of music, and That's what this was.
That's cool, man. Like, I love hearing the process that other people go through for their creative process, and how I can pick out parts where I'm like, oh, that applies to me.
That's how I do it,
But then I also hear things where I'm like, that doesn't apply to me at all. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I love that.
Mhm.
I love that it's not a rigid science,
No, of course not.
and that's fantastic.
The best pieces of music I've ever written come from bursts of inspiration where I'm not trying to create something, where I don't go in with a chord progression in mind or a key, or at most, ideally, I like to go in with just an idea.
Yeah.
I want to write about this scene in my novel. I want to write about the emotion of love. I want to write about, though it's raining today, so I want to write a piece about the weather. But that's as far as I like to go. I don't I would say the amount of pieces I've made where I've like looked up a chord progression, I could probably count on one hand, just because I compose very freeform.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think I imagine in less deft hands, that freeform nature would really.
It's hard.
It would be in less deft hands. Like I said, it wouldn't sound great. It would be.
It would sound different.
It would sound different.
Yeah.
And sorry, I shouldn't disparage. I think you nail freeform, man, because it doesn't sound freeform.
Thank you.
You know, it sounds meticulously planned and like, okay, at this point we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And like I've been thinking about this for weeks, and we're gonna make.
We're gonna
it
go
happen.
right to there.
Yeah.
Well, there's a staunch difference between. I hear a lot of anecdotes about musicians who are classically trained, like through universities, and they were brought up playing violin or piano, and I've heard a lot of like personal anecdotes from people from like BU who are like, yeah, I'm a classical musician. It's like, wow, you're really good then. It's like, I'm good at what I play. I can't improv.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? And I've heard a lot of classical musicians be like, no, I cannot improv for shit.
Yep.
It's like, really? It's like, yeah, I can. You put a piece of sheet music in front of me, within 3 days, I'll have it. You know, it'll be good, and I'll play it to the letter, exactly how you have it.
Yep.
But if you put a chord progression in front of me and just a tempo and just say play something, it's like, oh, I can't.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to say I'm the opposite, because I'm not. I can do sheet music and I'm somewhat classically trained, but once I got into college, I broke free from. I don't want to be like, oh, I broke free from structure. That's not how it works.
No,
but I just was like, I'm just gonna start writing music my own way. There's definitely always an air of. I don't want to say amateurish, but. Well, when you don't have an instructor there to guide you on something, you don't really have anyone to turn to for very specific problems.
Yeah.
It's up to you to figure them out. And that's always been a challenge, but I don't know. I like to think I'm doing okay.
You're doing great, man.
Thank
honestly. The other notes I had, there's a sense of dynamicism.
I have words like that.
Yeah.
I have awkwardity. Awkwardness.
Oh.
But I say like awkwardity
I
or
like
whatever.
that. I like that.
I know it's wrong.
No, I know, but it's an awkward way to say
Yeah.
it. No, it's very dynamic. And what I mean by that is like, I don't know what the next thing that's coming is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But when it gets here, it just merges.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a highway where like there's no bottlenecking. It's just seamless merging.
Right.
You
And
know?
maybe the road curves here and there, or
Yeah.
it takes a turn, but you never slow down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good, man.
Thank you.
And then my last note was beautiful ending.
Thanks.
I think how much effort, or not effort, but like how much onus do you put on the ending of your piece?
Not usually none.
Okay.
A lot of my pieces don't have an ending. They just sort of stop.
Yeah.
Because that's actually more of a me thing. Because normally I'll be going on this burst of inspiration. I'll be writing, I'll be adding and writing and doing all these things. And then eventually I get tired. And I'm like, all right, I'll work on this another time. And then I stop. I export it just so I have it as an export. And then I never go back to it. Usually. Because on to the next thing. You know? I don't want to be like, oh, never look back. But I would say 9 times out of 10, I don't go back to work on an old piece.
That's cool, man.
Just because I keep writing new things.
And to be fair, yeah, same here with my writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I'm like, okay, did it.
Next one.
Yep.
Well, because you get this it just feels like, even outside of my music, because I would say, okay, what I was going to say is, it feels like there's always ideas pouring out of my head. And I have to
stoke the flame.
I have to save them somehow.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are music, right? Oh, I got this idea. I got to compose this piece of music. A lot of them are I write. Like I do an absurd amount of writing too, and it's just I have to get these ideas down, and I have to save them because they could be relevant later. But it's not I don't go back because I'm like, oh, never look back, darling. But it's more like there's just I'm working on this thing, but then I got the next idea, so let's go work on that. But then another idea, let's go work on that. It's just like I gotta just I have to write. I can't stop. And I don't really get a chance to go back and look at old stuff because, well, I look at it, but to go back and work on it, that's a lot of time you have to dedicate.
Yep.
So,
the editing and refining process is very time consuming.
Oh yeah.
It's very much like we're sitting here for a while, and I relate what you're saying to what's the word? Striking the iron while it's hot. Versus honing the blade.
Right.
Right. Like it's very hey man, this has a time limit. Like this thing is hot.
Do it right now.
We gotta hit it right now, otherwise this is not gonna work out.
Yep.
But then I love the refining process though. That's my we were just talking about how different creative processes. I wish that I had ideas flowing from my head and wanting to get them on paper or anything like that. I get ideas maybe every once in a while. But I usually think of those ideas as obviously your stuff is quality too. Sorry. I was about to say quality over quantity, but you have the quantity and the quality. But yeah, I
get what you're saying though, because the number of finished, completed end-to-end pieces I have, it's not very high.
Sure.
I have
it's not the 600.
I have a lot of really good ideas.
Yes. Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah. I love that because it's writing prompts. You know what I mean? Or
I have a book of writing prompts.
Yeah.
500 writing prompts.
Fuck yeah.
Did about 30 of them and then stopped.
Yeah. Oh man, I do that all the time with stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts on this piece?
No. You know what? I will run one thing by it and then we'll move on because we've been talking about this for a while. I was surprised this got as many views as it did.
Okay.
You ever had a piece of writing that you were not the biggest fan of? We talked about this.
1000%.
And then everybody loves it.
Yep.
And you're like, no, this is not the good one.
Strugglers.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense though, because Strugglers is pretty fucking good. Anyways.
But you're doing the thing that we're talking about.
But you said last time you brought up an idea that you don't know if I'm lying to you.
We talked about that in private afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to cut that?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Honestly, we can discuss that.
And that just feels like, why would I lie to you, right?
I know.
But I don't. It's not that I didn't like this piece. It's just that I have other pieces where, the first when I started uploading weekly a month or two ago.
Yeah.
The first one I uploaded, that's one of my favorite pieces I've ever written. I love it. It sounds great end to end. It's interesting. It's got cool chord tensions. It's a really good piece of music. And it's got 400 views, which is great, but this has 1,400.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, go watch the other one.
Wait.
You're liking the wrong one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's how I feel about this piece. Not anymore. Yeah. Now I kind of realize why. I will admit the piano work it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But I didn't pay much attention to the piece in the second half string wise. So it just feels like, why are you all liking this one? Go like the other one. It's better. But you can't control what other people like.
That's content, man.
So, yeah.
That's you can pour your heart and soul into one thing, and just for some reason, because of so many factors, it just didn't take off.
Right.
But as long as you understand that, this was my quality piece, and I like it a lot, that's the thing, man.
I think I'm good on that.
Hell yeah. Great piece.
It's a fun piece. Thanks.
It's a really nice piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, Strugglers was the one where I was out of the 4 that I made for that short story collection, that was the one where I was I don't believe in this one. I submitted it. I'm oh, this is not going to do great. And then I got the mark back, and he was like, this is incredible. I'm knock it off. But again, it was the thing where I'm is somehow my professor lying to me?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of,
Dude, creativity will make you think the weirdest, dumbest shit.
The worst shit, man. It's awful.
Isn't my professor, are you lying to me?
Why are you telling me this is good?
Randy. That's what he says. Yeah. He just looks at you bro.
It's tough, man.
No, yeah, totally.
Imposter syndrome is a real thing. All right. I'm going to read a piece now. It's pretty short. It's about 3 pages of screenwriting, so...
I'm so excited.
It is a little less...
Have I seen this one?
I don't believe I've shown you this one.
Okay.
This is a situation in which I wanted to I don't know when I wrote this, and maybe I can find out. But this is a situation in which I went in with an idea or a challenge. And I wanted to continue honing my screenwriting stuff. You know what I mean?
Stuff.
This was written in 2022, so 2 years ago. And I won't tell you the challenge until after. So if you can pick out what I maybe was trying to do with this piece.
Okay.
Obviously, you don't have to like nail it on the head or anything.
Right.
But like, just
you better figure it out, Daniel.
If you don't figure it out by the end.
I'm going to come over there and beat the shit out of you.
Originally, this was, the project name was called Scratchers, but I ended up calling it To Be Redeemed. And we'll start with that.
Hell yeah.
Also, this is screenwriting, so there's log lines, so you're going to hear me say interior, kitchen, morning, which is the first one.
Kitchen.
Opening shot of a fridge door. Lottery tickets of all shapes and sizes are pinned on the door, but one stack sticks out in the middle. Slow zoom in on a stack of 12 crossword scratchers are pinned to the... Oh, jeez. I'm so sorry. Let me just get a quick drink of water.
Cut. I can cut this.
Keep it in.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I actually get it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we're going to do a clean read. Interior, kitchen, morning. Opening shot of a fridge door. Lottery tickets of all shapes and sizes are pinned on the door, but one stack sticks out in the middle. Slow zoom in on a stack of 12 crossword scratchers are pinned to the fridge door by a magnet that says To Be Redeemed. A wrinkled, slightly shaking hand slips the scratchers out from the magnet, revealing a photo behind them. The photo is of an elderly man, a middle-aged man, and a young girl. The young girl and the middle-aged man have their face painted like a tiger. The girl has her tongue sticking out, while the men are caught mid-laugh. Interior, gas station, morning. George, the elderly man from the photograph, shuffles into the gas station convenience store. He walks with a cane, wears thick-rimmed glasses, and a shabby coat. He looks up at the woman at the counter, tipping his cap. The woman smiles. George makes his way up to the counter. He tosses his stack of scratchers in front of Shauna. Shauna starts to scan them. Close-up shot of George's face. The sound of woohoo is heard after every beep on the scanner. We see the reflection of the screen from George's glasses. Winner $2, winner $4, winner $2, winner $12. Cut to Shauna checking the register. Shauna pulls out the tab of crosswords. She empties it out and goes to grab more from the bag. She pulls out the accordion of tickets, counts off another 30, and rips them off, pushing them towards George. George fumbles with his wallet, pulling out bills and loonies. We see a photo of the little girl from the fridge in his wallet. George snatches the tickets from the counter. Interior, kitchen, afternoon. George is hunched over the kitchen table. He's taking his time, scratching spaces while sipping his coffee. There's a pile of cards that are ripped in half on one side of the table, and another pile on the right that have dollar signs written on the front in marker. George sighs, grabs the ticket he's working on, then rips it in half. The ripped pile is looking a lot bigger than the winnings pile. George looks over at the ripped pile, sighs, then looks over to the winnings pile. Rather, where the winnings pile should be. They're no longer there. George looks around, confused. He wipes his glasses, then looks under the table. Looking back at him is the young girl from the photos. She's beaming ear to ear with the pile of winning tickets in her hand. She giggles. George holds out his hand expectantly. The girl tries to hold them away. George clears his throat. The girl frowns, then hands the tickets back. Transition to George sitting at the table. His ripped tickets pile is higher than before. His winnings is a big enough pile, but not by much. He has 3 more tickets to scratch through. The little girl taps him on the shoulder. She wears a bucket hat that is far too large for her head and holds a fishing pole twice her size in one hand. In the other, she holds a giant tackle box. She smiles up at George. George looks up at the clock. He looks back down at his cards. He shakes his head. The little girl loses her smile. She storms off. Interior, kitchen, night. George is standing in the kitchen with the father from the photo on the fridge. The father's body language is angry. He constantly gestures towards the piles on the table and to the little girl. George waves him off. The father goes to grab the winning tickets, only for George to grab him by the wrist. Nobody is touching his winnings. The father storms out, taking the little girl by the hand. She looks back at George, tears in her eyes. This wasn't fun for her to watch. She waves at George. George, looking shameful, goes to wave back. His heart isn't in it. George paces around the apartment. He's upset and unsure of what to do with himself now. He fills a glass of water from the sink and downs it in one go. Now what? He looks at the clock. It's 7:42. He goes to the table, picks up his ripped tickets, and throws them in the garbage. He grabs his winning tickets and makes his way to the fridge. That's when he notices a ticket already on the fridge, pinned to it with a piece of tape. He takes it from the fridge, sitting down at the table. The ticket is an attempt of creating a crossword scratcher with pencil crayons. On it, there are different words that intersect. Fishing intersects with ice cream, which intersects with catch, which intersects with hug. At the bottom of the ticket is a prize box. In it are every letter needed to scratch off every word on the ticket, a guaranteed winner. George puts the ticket on the table. He wipes his glasses again, takes a deep breath, then grabs his winning tickets pile. He rips up each one by one, as much as he can. Soon there's nothing but confetti on him and the floor. The table is left clear except for the pencil crayon ticket. George picks up the pencil crayon ticket and places it on the fridge with a magnet that says, "To be redeemed." And that is it.
Wow.
Thanks.
For the audience at home, I had to mute and fucking say something about it in private because it was very personal, but that was an absolutely, I don't know, that was absolutely gorgeous. It without revealing too much, it really hit something close to home for me. So like, I didn't, the what's it called again? I'm sorry.
It's called To Be Redeemed.
That's what I thought. I didn't know if To Be Redeemed was a name or if that was like I was just,
yeah,
you know. But
yeah, I'm really proud of this piece because it wasn't even for an assignment.
Yeah,
like a lot of my writing is good because I had to refine it for an assignment.
Right.
And
by that natural process, it's just gonna get better.
Yeah, this was almost a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, I wanted to create a piece where. Did you figure out the challenge?
I've got some ideas, but I don't think I did.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. My challenge was I wanted to write something with no dialogue.
Oh.
And I wanted to convey because dialogue is an easy crutch.
I thought what now in the thing was dialogue.
What now? Oh yeah, that was kind of like internal monologue.
It's hard to like when you're listening to someone like read out a screenplay.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep up with like interior kitchen.
Yep.
What's dialogue?
You don't see the character dialogue boxes.
I thought what now was dialogue.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Yeah, and the whole point of that was that I wanted to see if I could do it, first of all, and second of all, sorry, I'm getting a little bit of, I'm getting emotional. No, I wanted to see if I could make a story without the crutch of dialogue.
Yeah.
And use motions and actions rather than words.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, words make up the entire story, but like George doesn't say anything.
Right.
We get George's struggle and the little girl's struggle.
I was gonna say the conveyance of emotion.
Yeah.
Like the really obvious one was the hat in the fishing box, in the tackle box. That's like, oh, she's angry.
Yeah.
She fucking hates it. Clearly.
Yeah. And I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of like this is one where it just like it kept, you know, when you go for a walk and you start to think about the thing you were just working on, and you were like, oh shit, I could do this.
Yeah, you clear your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was one of those where I remembered so distinctly walking down by the train tracks over on 34th Street. I think it's 34th Street. And just walking down there and thinking about the story and be like, what if she makes him a crossword scratcher to like meet him in the middle? I'm like, oh fuck, that's good. I gotta go home. Yeah.
I want to ask you something about that.
Please.
Is there an underlying tonality of, because you say, because the girl making him the crossword scratcher, that's super cute. Does that also to you carry an underlying tonality of like, that's kind of sad though?
See,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Right?
However,
yeah,
it was super intentional to ensure that George ripped up the winning tickets.
Okay, that like came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Doesn't he need those?
Sure, he could.
Right.
But that continues the cycle. By ripping them up and being like, yeah, I'm going to lose money on this, even though they're winners.
Right. I've got this instead.
But I have this.
Yeah.
This is what is actually
it's more
matters.
important. Totally.
Yeah. So that was kind of the point of that. Because I know it sounds like, bro, you're just giving away money. What are you doing?
No, I
because
that,
I know if he goes into that gas station again and redeems them, he's just going to go back into, okay, I'll grab 30 more.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, I really, even reading back, like there's a lot of old pieces that I'm not like in love with anymore because I'm like, man, I got better. Like
Mhm.
as a writer, I got better. This one is still one where I'm like, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
You did good.
Yeah, it was
And
beautiful.
it's very difficult for me to take pride in my writing, but like this is one where I'm like, yeah, good stuff. But yeah, that is to be redeemed / scratchers.
I'm sorry, I don't have more to say.
No, you don't.
It was wonderful.
Thank you. I also like this is one where I feel like I could see it, if that makes sense, when I was writing it.
That's one of the biggest things that I enjoy about writing is like playing it out in your mind, either as you're writing it or as you're reading it.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I love screenwriting.
Yeah.
Is that like you're not writing the story so much as you're conveying the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
My favorite bit in this is when I'll reread this bit because it's like it's a particular shot that I would love to have.
Is it the reflection of the?
It is.
Yeah. That hit me too. I was like, "That's a cool." I could see it in my mind.
Such a
That's
cool
a cool
shot.
the reflection in the. Was it in the register thing?
Yeah. So like when I a lot of this, especially the, a lot of this was actually inspired by when I worked at Co-op Gas Bar, in that like, I would see these old folks come in and they would just get the crossword scratchers.
Yeah.
And they would, and I remember Cody, he would get the bag from behind the counter. And it's those little touches where like, if I didn't work in that gas station, I wouldn't know about the bag behind the counter.
Right.
But yeah, I remember them coming in and they would grab the tickets and they would go over to the scanner. And I'd still remember the sound of the woohoo. Every time there's a winner, it's just like, woohoo. Right. And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, that's funny. But now I'm like, oh, that's
really
manipulative.
Fucking sad.
Yeah. But yeah, the close-up shot on George's face, the sound of woohoo is heard after every beep of the scanner. We see the reflection of the screen from George's glasses. So you don't you don't see the register. You see it through his glasses.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Because you're actually looking into his eyes, but you're seeing what he's seeing.
Totally.
And sorry, I know this sounds like me being like, "Oh man, look at me, good writing."
Good,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? But no, I
That'd
like
be
it a lot.
a wonderful shot.
Yeah.
I have I couldn't have done that. I have a very soft spot for elderly people.
Me too.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
And like that just like breaks my fucking heart.
That was strugglers, man. Like Joan, like the stranger or the struggler. I write about old people so much because I know. To me, it will be impactful.
Very impactful.
So if it's impactful to me, it may be impactful to another person.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had to mute to tell something to Randy about it, but like this fucking, you just got me, man. I don't know what else to say. You got me.
I appreciate you conveying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your idea about practicing writing without dialogue is really interesting. I've done the opposite.
Oh, interesting.
I've done stories with just dialogue.
Yeah.
And trying to like.
There's a place for it, man.
You said like dialogue is a crutch. I think dialogue can be a crutch. I think getting too wrapped up in your just general expository descriptive writing can be a crutch too.
Yep.
I've read plenty of stories where it's like paragraph after
Waxing.
paragraph of expository or exposition. Sorry.
Yep.
And it's like, man, when are the characters coming in?
Yeah. What can I attach to here?
And like maybe your expository description is really pretty. Maybe you're doing a really good job of setting the scene.
Yep.
But like at some point you got to stop waxing lyrical about how fucking the light is chatoyantly shining off the marble tiling and just bring in the fucking characters, man. Obviously not in reference to you, but you know what I'm talking about.
I would love to take a creative writing course with you.
That'd be fun.
I would love for you to be in the room.
We have very yin-yang styles, I feel
we
like.
do.
Yeah.
I think it'd be so cool to rip off of and be like, I liked how you did this, but this didn't quite connect with me. It's like, oh, I did that because of this.
Yeah.
And that's so funny that you bring that up because I remember so distinctly in one of my creative one of my creative writing courses, one of the things was like, hey, it's your turn to present. So please present some of your story that you're working on right now. Mm-hmm. So there was this guy that was writing a murder mystery or like a crime, like a two detectives show up and be like, what's the problem here, Bill?
So I says to
I says to her, I says, who did the murder? But no, he prefaced it with that and said, this is what it's about. And then it took about 5 to 6 minutes to get to that part because he started, and this is no disrespect to him. This is very much just not how I would write it, but it was beautifully written. but he starts with like basically like from the dawn of time, like that big problem.
What?
Where a lot of people start with like, how did we get to this point?
Yeah, describing the problem and like painting an idea of how we psychologically understand it.
And like going into evolutionary stuff and like, oh, and then this drop did this. And
it's
like
cool about once.
Super cool once. But when you get to the point where it's like, okay, let's get to it.
We're still talking about this and it's been 15 minutes.
We gotta go.
You got about negative 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
Gotta take a sip of my water if you don't mind.
I'm gonna make that my fucking ringtone. So I'm getting a phone call. We gotta go.
We gotta go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Not even the right character.
But yeah, that was that's To Be Redeemed. I'm also like a sucker for a good title or like a clever title.
Yeah.
To Be Redeemed is my favorite, or like one of my favorites, because it's like I love double meaning, where it's like he's trying to redeem himself at the end of it.
Totally.
And it's like, yeah, but it also is a lottery thing. And it's like, yes.
This makes a lot of sense.
Nailed it.
Good thing. It was a really good thing. My working title was Woohoo, and that wasn't super.
That one didn't really focus test well.
Wasn't really working well on that one.
Woohoo. Woo. Anyway, Dan.
Yes.
Would you like to play another piece of music?
I would like to play another piece of music. I don't know what music I want to play.
Oh.
Oh shit!
I was supposed to look for this.
Well, I was listening to you, and it was such a good story. I have a piece. It's called Cloudspeak Part 2 LMAO.
Okay.
I wrote it as sort of my piece of music on my YouTube channel that has the most views, where it's like 4,300 or something. It's called Cloudspeak, and it's a piece of music for the Equestria at War mod that I was working on.
Right.
Part of. I wrote a piece of music that was like, I don't want to call it a sister piece, but it was sort of like inspired by it.
Okay. Influenced.
Yeah, I don't want to say like, oh, it was Cloudspeak, but I wrote it when I was better. But I don't know, it kind of was.
Sure.
But I'll play it. It's called Cloudspeak Part 2, LMAO. Because it's just sort of a working title. I don't really have a name for it.
Yep.
But it's a very airy, effervescent piece of ambient orchestral music. Lots of long strings and whatnot. So, yeah. This is a longer piece. Please, audience, if it plays for a second. I stopped it before I played. Oh, it's not a longer piece. It's only 1:10. I thought it was like 3 minutes.
There we go.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different piece.
Part 3.
I don't know. Yeah.
lmao.
LMFAO.
Lmao.
Who is Limfound? Who is he working with?
Limfao.
So yeah, I'll play this one. From what I remember, I think I'm proud of this piece.
All right.
All right, here we go. And that's it. It's a relatively short one.
Yeah.
It's mostly an idea.
Okay.
That's really just an idea of a piece.
I'm a big fan of one word descriptions of things to try and like boil something down to its essence.
Mm-hmm.
I associate that piece with isolation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can see it.
If anything, I kind of like I associate it with like a phantom signal or like a remote Arctic base for some reason.
I can see
like
it.
The sonar almost.
No, it has. That's a really interesting idea. It's gee, I wonder if it's the beep 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 piano.
Yeah, obviously,
no,
yeah.
No, yeah, I totally can see that. There's always a aspect of, you know, in like cinema, really high ambient airy strings correlate directly to like snow and the Arctic and stuff like that. So you hear that a lot. There's like a direct like visual auditory comparison.
I love how that audio can do that.
Yeah, totally.
That can just like play on your subconscious and be
Yeah.
like, hey, you're meant to be invoking
You're thinking
this.
of this right now.
Yeah.
It's not even you're meant to. It's like I'm making you think of this.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember my piece that I wrote that was like Stardew Valley inspired and it was very wintry?
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah.
you were like, this is Stardew Valley winter. And I was like, that's exactly what it is.
I've manipulated
I
your
got your
mind.
ass. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that, like I said, that's more of a structure of an idea that I could, in theory, work on later. And I will. I like that piece. It needs to be mixed properly. But yeah, it's fun.
If anything, this kind of like, this is almost like sequelitis in that like, I kind of want to go back and listen to the first one now.
Yeah.
Because like, I want to see how those two like intertwine and like, how one influenced the other.
Right.
Yeah.
If you heard the first one, which you should have because it's on my YouTube.
Yeah.
I think you have. I think I probably sent it to you.
I'm sure I have, yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, that's really similar.
Yeah.
But this is sort of, I don't want to call it the evolution because it's not. It's sort of like a side grade, you know, where it's like, here was the initial idea, and then Cloudspeak 1 went that way, but then Cloudspeak 2 went that way.
Oh, an offshoot. Yeah.
Yeah, sort
I
of.
love that.
Yeah. It's very similar. You'd hear them and you'd be like, which one's which? But no, but yeah, it was definitely inspired by the first one. So, yeah.
That's super cool.
I can't believe I haven't played Cloudspeak as one of the first. Well, no, that's not true. I haven't played Cloudspeak on a creative showcase because it's 5.5 minutes long. And it's ambient orchestral.
Yeah.
So the audience will get real bored real fast.
Honestly, I'll make a note to listen to that when I get home tonight.
Okay, thanks.
I'll add to your 4,000 views on it.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. Can you play a little bit of it?
Anywhere specifically?
Start in the middle.
Okay. Here comes. That piano is present with the whole thing.
I love that as an underlying theme.
Yeah.
I love that because it's familiarity.
It's always with you.
Yeah.
You know what I just realized?
What's that?
Do you remember in the last Creative Showcase when I played The Heart of Chaos?
Yes.
The Heartbeat of Chaos? This is the opposite. The Heartbeat of Chaos has that really deep bump, bump throughout the whole track. This has the really high piano throughout the whole track.
That's so cool.
It's like a yin-yang piece.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing?
You combine the two and you got a new piece.
Yeah, you got the heartbeat and then you got the fucking clouds, I guess.
I suppose.
So, yeah, I don't know. This was I'm a big fan of those huge,
sweeping,
airy, sweeping. I heard Hans Zimmer describe those strings as breathing.
Oh,
they go
that's
up
good.
And then down,
Man,
and up and then down, and and then like there's the string breathing the air in, and then you can like an exhale, right?
Yeah.
Almost. Like the strings are breathing. That's what he described it as, and that's a philosophy I've like taken to heart as like when I'm writing strings. I like because if your strings are just like on off, it's so just boring. You know, it gets real stale really fast.
A piece has to be alive.
Yeah,
you know, you like,
totally.
and you have to feel as if the composer
intended for it to be alive.
Yeah,
in one way,
rather than. Well, okay, so like obviously this is a pop shot at something that doesn't need to be pop shotted at, but like music in terms of like the songs I listen to, or particularly stuff that works for radio or Spotify singles and stuff like that. Structure. Hey, we need first verse,
right?
Chorus,
yeah.
Second verse, chorus, instrumental, chorus, but slightly different this time, or a key change,
right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it works because everybody enjoys it because it's familiar. I love when I get to listen to pieces like yours, or like video game music, or like video game soundtracks, or any other soundtrack. Like, I love when it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna get here.
Yeah, I had a thought while you were saying that there's a very staunch difference between music that you know is just notes, and music that transcends. I'm not necessarily my music, but music that takes a step out of being just a piece of music and steps into the realm of being more an idea, or or like a theme, right? Because if I reference that winter piece of music I wrote, that was very obviously like, oh, I'm thinking of winter. I'm thinking of maybe Stardew Valley, but like, and it stepped away from just being a piece of music into being an auditory experience of an idea or a theme or an emotion or whatever it might be. Yeah. So
I think that's so cool.
Right?
Man. Whenever we do these creative spaces, it's almost as if I get like reignited in my like, the beauty of creativity and the fact that I can listen to music 24 hours a day, or I can read 24 hours a day for the rest of my life, and I'm never going to find everything.
Nope.
And I'm going to have so many experiences and so many different pieces of things that I can collect in my mind of like, oh man, I read this book, or I listened to this album. It was incredible. The tapestry within my mind of the things that I've collected along the way, that tapestry is so unique to others.
Right.
Even though your tapestry might have a couple pieces that are very similar to mine.
Or the same.
Or exactly the same.
Right.
We both experienced this thing.
Right.
But
the entirety of the whole it's just not even it's not even the same like idea at that point.
Yeah.
You know? Completely transcendent. Yeah, I totally get that. That's a really interesting metaphor. The tapestry of one's mind.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too. I kind of just stumbled upon that.
Did you just make that up? Yeah,
absolutely.
I like that a lot. That's cool.
That's really cool.
Write that down.
Well, it's that I was also going to bring up, like, I've had a story idea like noodle around in my old noggin that you kind of hit on just now of like that offshoot.
Yeah.
In that, like, I want to create a story in which we subvert the thing that we've been told since children, or like in any story growing up of like, stay on the path. Like, don't go off the path because bad things can happen. Hansel and Gretel, or The Hobbit, where they're in Mirkwood, and then the dwarves are like, oh shit, what's over there off the path? And then they get fucked up by spiders.
By Spider-Man.
But like, yeah, I'd love to tell a story or create a story with that goal in mind of like encouraging stepping off the path. And
provided there aren't big spiders.
Of course. But maybe the spiders are actually kind of cool and have a bad rap.
Unless you're a spiderologist.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Are you a spiderologist, huh?
I'm Spider-Man.
I'm Spider-Man.
Just out of nowhere. Spider-Man.
Beautiful piece.
Thank you.
I like it a lot. And it is on your YouTube, right?
No.
No? This one's not? Okay. Man, yeah. That's almost haunting. Like that sonar beeping, like that piano. It's almost haunting, man.
I'm trying to play it again.
I love it. Haunting in a good way.
I've had my music called haunting before.
Yeah.
Actually, Cloudspeak, one of my friends called it haunting.
Really?
It's always there. And you can almost forget it's there.
Yeah.
The strings. But when you focus on it, well, it's always there.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about that is that the note fits all the chords. Like that note is in all of the chords that the strings are playing. So from the note is tonic to all the chords, which means it fits in all the chords.
Okay.
So yeah, it's cool. From a theory perspective, it fits like a puzzle piece.
Yeah. It's satisfying.
Yeah.
You know? Cool.
Thank you.
God, man. You're a talented fellow, Daniel Mosionier.
I just like writing music.
You're really good.
Thanks.
One
of these days I'll show you some of my actual writing, and you'll be like,
I was about
you'll
to
be
bring
like,
that up.
this fucking shot.
No, I would love to read it, man. Genuinely. Like, anytime you want us to throw something my way, please.
Okay.
Would love to.
I will do that.
Shall we get to the last bit of the episode?
Yeah, the best for last, because it's a method acting thing. And
Randy
gave me a script.
I gave Dan a script.
And I'm going to voice act some stuff.
So I printed this off a while back because I was like, I want to start, like, I want to start proving to myself that I'm actually, like, decent at what I do. So I printed things off and I started hanging them on my walls, like with tacks at first, but now I actually have, like, nice frames.
Ooh.
This is so right now in my apartment I have 4 stories up on the wall because I bought a 4-pack of frames. So that's the only reason why.
I still haven't hung my college diploma.
Neither have I.
It's just sitting.
I haven't got one. Still working on it.
It's still sitting in the glass cabinet.
But to be redeemed, or sorry, not to be redeemed. The story we're about to read.
Can I read the title?
Feel free.
It's called One Punch Man.
Nope.
Oh,
I'm afraid not.
One Punch Ice Liner.
Nope.
Oh.
Why don't I read it?
Okay. It's called One Punch, One Liner.
Yeah.
By Randy McLeod.
Yeah, this one, Star Surfers.
I love Star Surfers.
Me too. Big fan of Star Surfers.
Big fan of
Building Connections and Strugglers are my big 4 that are on the wall.
The big 4.
Yeah.
I should put together a big 5 of my own music.
You should. That'd be sick.
That'd be funny.
Get a little showcase. So yeah, this is originally project title was Dive Bar, but I guess like it's like Project Dive Bar, but then it coalesces into the actual title.
Mm-hmm.
This was a screenwriting assignment for my first ever creative writing course. And in that creative writing course, it was segmented into, we're going to do poetry this section, we're going to do screenwriting this section, we're going to do playwriting next section, and then the last section was creative nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
I bombed poetry pretty bad. I'm not good at poetry. But this was the one that gave me confidence of like, oh, maybe I got something here. Because I got my mark back and it was like a 92. I'm like, yes!
Hell yeah.
Yes! It's happening. This is about 6 pages long. And there is actually dialogue in this one.
Ooh.
So, yeah, like Dan had alluded to, we are going to actually perform a little bit of it. We're going to have a fun time with it. I think this is going to be really fun because this is one of the most fun pieces I've ever written. So, let's get into it, shall we?
This is the... Never mind. I answered my own question.
All right. I'm going to take a drink of water before we start.
He's going to sip it up, and I'm going to fill the time in the air.
In the air with Randy McLeod.
We'll do it live.
Do it live.
That's what this has to.
All right. Interior.
Did you bring like fake glass so we can do the smash sound?
Ooh, you're going to have to add that in post, I'm afraid. Whoa! Not in the booth.
Can you imagine I spent like
coffee everywhere.
I spent like 6 hours doing all the sound effects. I just turned it into a fucking
It's like they're sound libraries.
Yeah. Yeah, I do them all myself. I'm smashing shit in my room.
It's like, Dan, deadline is Friday.
Dan, it's next Friday. What are we doing? Okay, here we go.
All right. Interior, pub, afternoon. Smash. A drunk brandishes the neck of a now broken Corona bottle, pointing it at anyone.
Corona? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Pointing it at anyone who tries to get close to him. He's wild-eyed, yelling incoherently. He begins to kick chairs towards the other patrons. Behind the bar, the bartender sighs heavily as he finishes drying a mug with a dirty rag. He has a long gray beard and large bags under his eyes. He personifies the word grizzled. This is our hero, Ralph. Not a good name, by the way. I gotta fix that in post.
Hey, what do you mean?
Ralph isn't a heroic name.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's true. This is our hero, Ralph.
I love Ralph.
Ralph looks around the pub, surveying the scene. He breathes another sigh, then throws his rag over his shoulder. With his newly cleaned mug, Ralph calmly walks over to the drunk. The drunk's back is up against the wall, or in this case, the bar. Ralph takes the rag off his shoulder and starts to twist it around like children do when they're about to whip each other. The drunk is oblivious to Ralph's presence, shouting obscenities at anything with a pulse. Ralph snaps the rag into the back of the drunk's neck. Shocked and outraged, the drunk turns around, only to be met by the final moment of the mug's life.
Oh, it killed him.
Smash. The glass shatters everywhere, some of the shards embedding into the drunk's face. He's dazed, but not out. But Ralph knew the mug wouldn't be enough. He's busy wrapping his fist with the rag. Ralph. Joey, I can't say I won't enjoy this. We hear the crack of Joey's nose as it breaks from the pure force of Ralph's haymaker.
Oh, he kills him again.
Joey goes flying backwards,
fuck?
almost comedically far. Thud. The pub is silent for a moment. Everyone's stunned by how quickly the events de-escalated. All eyes are on Ralph. He's rubbing his fist while looking at his handiwork. Ralph. Guess it's a not-so-happy hour.
Walter.
The pub erupts in laughter and cheers. Everyone steps over Joey's body and charges towards the bar. Interior pub evening. Every man in the pub lines the bar now. Beer overflows in every mug. Everyone's giddiness is infectious, and even Ralph is smiling, if only a little. By the end of the hour, his arm is sore from pulling back so many beer taps. Exterior street, sidewalk, evening. Ralph is walking home after the end of his shift. He's more tired than before. It's a cool fall evening, and he's wearing a baggy, torn-up jacket. Ralph smiles meekly at a couple walking by, but they ignore his existence, completely enraptured with each other's company. The man is wearing an expensive-looking suit, while the woman is wearing a beautiful fur coat. Exterior bus stop evening. Ralph makes it to his bus stop and looks up at the bus board. He sees that his bus is a whopping 20 minutes late. He sighs. He looks around at the empty street, then plops down on the closest bench. He starts to rub his fist. We see it's begun to turn a shade of violet. Ralph goes to pull out his cell phone when a cry for help shatters the calmness of the evening. No! Please! Someone help! That's my best.
No, I like it.
Okay,
That's
cool.
what I imagine that guy sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
He sounds like a loser.
That was husband.
Yeah.
Ralph sighs again. He looks up at the bus board. His bus isn't arriving for another 19 minutes. He thinks for a moment, tilting his head side to side, weighing his options. Finally, he slowly gets to his feet. Exterior, back alley, evening. We find the couple that ignored Ralph earlier, along with a masked man, gun in hand. He has the gun pointed at the woman's head. The masked man has his back towards the only entry to the alley. The couple is against a wall. No escape.
I thought you'd say masked man.
Oh, sorry, masked man.
Quit your shouting. Nobody needs to get hurt here.
I love it. I love
can't.
it. Please keep doing.
I just need a small charitable donation. You can do that, eh, Richie Rich?
Please, just let us go. You want my watch? Please, just take it. Just leave us alone.
I'm sure you can do better than a watch. How about you, sweetheart? Anything you feel like donating to the poor?
The wife spits at the masked man, but misses by a mile.
Oh, no. Oh, shit, it's me.
Yeah,
I had to turn the
no,
page.
it's okay.
Oh, sorry. I had to, formulate it.
Yep.
All right. Looks like you want to do this the hard way.
Ralph comes into the alley slowly. The standoff is unaware of his presence. He creeps forward, surveying the scene as he does. He kneels down to pick up a loose bit of brick.
He's gonna kill him. Ralph is a murderer.
We'll get to it.
The masked man says, I tried to be civil about this. I really did. You 1%ers like fuck. How do you say that word again?
Civility.
Civility. Fuck.
Masked man wouldn't say this.
What the fuck? I tried to be civil about this. I really did. You 1%ers like civility, don't ya? But no, I guess not. Wallets, now.
Neither of the couple move. The masked man rolls his eyes. He points the pistol to the Lord above and fires off a round. The couple screams in unison. The husband's somehow more shrill than the wife's. The masked man snickers at this. The husband fumbles for his pockets, while the wife reaches into her purse. Ralph is getting closer now, only a few feet away from the masked man's unsuspecting back. The couple are unaware of Ralph, too busy looking for their money.
Come on, let's go.
The husband looks up at the masked man. We see a brick rise above the masked man's head. The husband yelps in surprise. The masked man's eyes go wide. He whirls around to see the brick of justice coming down to smite him.
Justice.
Thunk. Dazed but not out, the masked man staggers backward. Ralph wasn't expecting him to still be conscious. He struggles to think of what to do next, then looks down at his bruised fist. The wife, however, is springing into action. While the husband cowers behind a nearby dumpster, the wife runs forward and kicks the back of the masked man's legs. He drops to his knees, completely dazed. In a cartoon, he'd have Tweety birds flying around his head. Ralph sees his opening for a finisher and begins to run towards the kneeling man. As he does, he cocks his aching fist behind him. It connects underneath the masked man's chin, rocketing him backwards. Smash. The masked man goes flying into the side of the dumpster. The masked man goes flying into the side of the dumpster the husband is hiding behind. Thunk. Fatality. It's so ridiculous, man.
It's so over the top.
I know. That was
it.
the point.
I love it.
Sorry, I lost my pager.
You wouldn't have lost your page if you had a paper copy.
That's super true, actually.
The husband screams again.
The husband screams again, scurrying away. Breathing heavily, Ralph looks to see the couple doing anything but ignoring him now. He meekly smiles again. Sorry about that.
Oh.
Just taking out the trash.
Oh my god.
The couple laugh at the level of cheese on display, then rush to embrace one another. Ralph turns to leave, but is stopped by the husband. Please, let me reward you, sir. I have cash.
Let's go.
Let's go. Ralph.
This is great.
Ralph stops, but doesn't turn around. Didn't you want the same thing? Just be careful from now on. I hate that line. Anyway, continue. And with that, Ralph walks out of the alley. The wife looks away from where Ralph stood and turns to her husband. Do you really scream like that? Sorry, were you the wife?
No, it was for a bit. What? No, I'm not the wife.
Was I the wife?
Yeah.
Has the wife said anything yet?
I don't know. It's your story.
Shit.
I can do the wife.
No, it's okay.
Do you really scream like that?
That's
what she sounds like.
Is that? It's pretty stereotypical.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
So is this voice.
Yeah, it's pretty. Interior bus evening. Ralph greets the bus driver as he enters the bus. He spies a spot near the back and walks towards it. Before he makes it there, the bus jolts forward. Ralph lunges for the nearest handhold and grips it for dear life. As he steadies himself, he stares at the remains of his hand. Its amethyst color shocks him. The skin is broken in his last bout, and blood is running down his arm. Not profusely, but it's noticeable. He takes the rag from the pub out of his pocket and starts to mop up the mess. As the bus pulls over at another stop, Ralph gets to his seat and sinks into the thin fabric. A teenage girl walks onto the bus. The only two passengers are her and Ralph. The girl walks to the back of the bus and sits directly across from Ralph, sitting backwards. Ralph looks up, gives a small smile, and looks out the window. The girl is staring intently at Ralph, extremely serious. After a minute, Ralph looks back at the girl. Something in my teeth, Ralph says. She hands him a note. Ralph reluctantly takes it from her and reads it aloud. Ralph, please help. I ran away. Bad man coming. What bad man? Why are you running? The girl shakes her head. She points at the note. Her finger landing on the word help. Ralph nods his head in understanding. He gives the note back to the girl. The bus stops again. As if on cue, the bad man enters the bus. He looks around, sees the girl, and walks towards the back of the bus. Ralph clenches his fist and stands up. Turn around, sir. There's no need for any of this. The bad man ignores Ralph. Instead, he pulls a switchblade from his pocket. He presses a button and the gleam of a knife pops out. Ralph gulps, but stands fast. I won't ask again. Turn around.
Go home, old man. This has nothing to do with you. Anya, let's go.
Ralph can see there's no changing this guy's mind. He takes a deep breath, then lunges forward, his steel fist at the ready, the right hook to end all right hooks. But too slow. Just a bit quicker, the bad man thrusts the knife into Ralph's stomach.
What? That's Ralph for the record.
That's Ralph, yeah. Ralph falls to his knees, cradling his right side where blood gushes out of a stab wound. The blood drips to the floor, being pushed to the back of the bus by the forward motion. The bad man stands over him, emotionless. He says nothing as he grabs the screaming Anya by the arm. At this point, the bus driver has stopped the bus and ran off. Ralph breathes hard, both of his hands trying to keep pressure on the wound. He's quickly lost a lot of blood. He looks up at as the bad man He looks up He's quickly lost a lot of blood. He looks up as the bad man heads towards the front of the bus. Ralph, weakly. What? No one-liner? The bad man stops for a moment. He nods his head side to side, much like Ralph. The bad man turns back around, then kneels down in front of Ralph. The two men hold each other's gaze.
I think this is your stop.
Perfect. We see Ralph's hand fall away from his wound. We can't see how purple it is anymore, as it's completely soaked in blood. We do see it clench into one last fist, though. Wham! The bad man's body nearly wraps around a vertical bar, a look of utter shock on his face from Ralph's sudden burst of force. He crumples to the floor, probably comatose. Anya backs up, horrified at the scene. Ralph looks at the man, a smile on his face. He coughs, then chuckles, then laughs, then howls. I guess that wraps things up. Ralph falls forward onto his face, still smiling. End.
Who is Jack?
That was a mistake.
It says Jack right there.
My instructor called me out on that. I was like, I think you're complaining this with your other story that you submitted. I'm like, oh, fuck, I did. Yeah.
Did he die?
Dan, that's not the point of a script. He could be alive. He could be dead.
He's dead.
That's up to you.
He's definitely dead.
That's up to you. A lot of people could be dead in this story.
Yeah, Ralph's a piece of shit.
Ralph is killing people.
Ralph's a fucking murderer.
A lot of people in that bar celebrated murder.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. What was with all those people? That's hilarious and very fun.
If I were to sum this piece up, it would be ridiculous.
If I were to sum this piece up, I would sum it up as what the fuck.
Yeah, it's dumb.
No, I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
This is one of the most proud pieces I've ever made because usually when I write, it's always like, hey, we got to go for that emotional hook. We got to find that spark or like that anchor point. This was just pure let's just be stupid.
It's intentional, self-aware nonsense.
1000%.
Yeah, I love it.
And
the one-liners are so much.
There's so much, man.
There's so much.
And that's the thing. My prof gave such great advice on this when I got it back. There's the line I called out for not being great, where he's like, didn't you want the same thing? Just be careful from now on.
Yeah.
He commented on that. He said, no, Ralph only speaks in one-liners. And I'm like, fuck, that's so much better.
That's interesting.
That's such a better idea.
Yeah.
Because he actually like even referred to Borderlands 2 in like Zero, in that like Zero only speaks in haikus.
Yeah.
Ralph only speaks in one-liners. And I'm like, that is absolutely how you elevate this piece from good to great.
That's pretty funny. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And so that would cut out like so much like needless dialogue. Like
what if he said keep the change?
Yeah, and
that
I was
been
thinking
so
exactly
good.
that when I was thinking about reading this piece. I remember that line so distinctly, and I'm like, why wouldn't he say keep the change?
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
You filthy animals. Like that's all you had to say.
That your prof's like that would have taken this from that would have been an A+.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
That would have been so good.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I love it, man. And like there's such little things that I'm like, oh, the Corona bottle because I was drinking Corona at the time. I know that. Or like the thin fabric of the bus. I remember that from riding the buses in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And like it's those little details that I kind of just sneak in there of like
your own personal experience.
Yeah.
Yep,
and
totally.
I love that when I can do that in a story. And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's just part of the story. I'm like, yeah, but I know that.
Yeah.
You know, like
and without all those little additions, it might not have the same. It might not be the same. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this piece.
So fun.
And I'm so glad that you were open to the idea of like doing a table.
Of course, that's hilarious.
That's fun.
I just want your money.
Hey,
hey, it's me, masked man.
I also like how the bad man like is like basically like just the better version of Ralph for a second.
Yeah,
where he's just
beats
like
beats the shit out of him.
He's almost like agreeing to the absurdity.
Yeah,
like he's dropping the stone cold veneer and just being like, I think this is your stop. And it's like, yes,
I got you.
Let's go. Yeah. And like it almost, and like what I love about it is that it feels like an anime thing where it's just like the one punch guy, you know what I mean? Where it's just like the haymaker. Like what did I
forgot that it was one punch, one liner. I forgot totally.
There was a line where it's like the haymaker to end all haymakers. Or
that was like
no, it was something of justice.
The brick of
justice. Yeah,
I was like, oh my fuck.
Oh, but that's
an
the
anime
parts,
move.
Those are the bits. That's the fun thing about screenwriting is that you can impart your personality on the script because it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Right.
That's like maybe 0.5% of people are going to read the script. Mm-hmm. And those people are part of the movie or script nerds like me. But I love that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scripts that I've read is Logan, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Mm-hmm. Because when you're reading the opening scene, there's so much personality in there, and it's almost written like a novel or like Logan is tired of this. He's so fucking tired, and it's like that's a small thing that is only in the script.
Yeah.
But that was a personal moment for the writer, James Mangold, to be like, I want to impart this part.
Yeah.
Like
James Mangold.
Mangold.
Aw. No. I was excited. I was like, what a name.
That's Ralph's name.
Ralph Mangold.
Yeah.
No, his name is Ralph One-Liner.
Mr. One-Liner. Yeah.
That's so fun. I love it.
I like it too. Big fan. Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me for another creative showcase.
Thank you for sharing your creativity with me on the showcase.
You're welcome.
Okay. You started it.
I did. Folks, we're going to get out of here.
We're going to wrap this up because this has been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. When did we start?
I don't know.
7:15?
Some sort of time.
Sure.
Something like that.
Good. What did I say earlier? Shit, I forgot.
Good
to go. Or something like that.
You sound like Jim Carrey.
That's kind of what I go for sometimes.
I'm good to go.
Alrighty then.
I got the powers of God.
Yeah.
He fucked that up so bad. He could have like ended world hunger.
Yeah.
Increased everyone's intelligence by 100 IQ points.
Yeah.
Stopped cancer.
Could have.
Fed the
but he didn't.
Fed the hungry twice.
But he didn't.
But he didn't because I want to get the woman in my door.
Damn it, Jim.
Oh, this is a little obscene, but
okay.
I'll leave it in because it's the movie. He could have done all that. He made his girlfriend's tits bigger.
I don't think I've seen this movie.
Evan Almighty. Or Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty. I don't think I've seen this movie.
He's like goes home with these new god powers.
I don't
No, it's not. And his girlfriend wakes up and she's like, "Are my boobs bigger?" And it's like, you could cure cancer. What are you doing?
you asshole.
You dumb motherfucker.
Yeah. Love it.
Love the movie I haven't seen.
What was the other Almighty movie?
Evan Almighty. That's why I said it.
Which one was Evan Almighty?
With the guy who wasn't it the guy who played Michael in The Office?
Michael Scott?
I don't know.
That's not the name of the actor, you dumb fuck Rand. Oh yes, I've seen that. Steve Carell.
Yeah. Steve Carell. Is that Steve Carell? Is that Michael in The Office?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch that show.
We're gonna wrap it up, folks.
We're done and we are good to go.
We are good to go.
Creative showcase.
Thank you so much for watching.
You hear that? That's my music.
Daniel's music. Yeah, we can stop that now. Fuck. The audience is tuned out by now.
They only made it about 15 minutes into this episode.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We didn't even get to the second piece of writing. Thank you so much for listening. Of course, thank you, Dan, for creating this music that you're listening to right now.
Whoa.
And thank you for editing our podcast. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you to Cassie for running our socials, except for that you're on mat leave, so I will run the socials.
On mat leave? Like she's getting
from this unpaid position.
If I found out Cassie was getting paid, I would fucking...
Oh, I'd be upset for you.
I shoot up your house.
Yeah, that's fair. And then thank you to the Creation Maker Space.
They are down here creating. We are just creating.
I did that in one episode with Brad, where he's like, he says like, yeah, I look up to this person, like whatever, and I was like, well, like you can't look up to them because you're taller than them.
It's not funny, Rand. You're not funny.
And that's the thing, like. We did like the classic fake laugh of like, and then I was like, and that's the funniest thing
I remember that.
I laugh at that so often, dude. It's so funny.
Isn't that the funniest thing ever?
it's like back away from the mic.
So bad.
It's so stupid. We're gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks so much for listening.
Have a wonderful evening.
Have a wonderful evening.
Goodbye.
And we're done.
But anyway,
so when I say
you know what I say there? I say,
you know what I say.
Oh, I'm saying all about it. Oh, goddamn.
That's not.
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm saying goodbye. You.